Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you. You may be seated.
The clerk will call the roll. Please correct the pronunciation of your name if it is incorrect.
Lauren Anderson. William Barnes. Timothy Barr. Amanda Blanton. Bella Brash. Natalia Byer. William Costello. Emma Cumby. Kiki DiPolito. Grant Dworsnowski. Nicholas Gavin Arriaga. Gay. Geddins. Goodrich. Gruner. Hopkins. Wang. Iftikhar. John. Cassetti. Kay. Kerner. LaPinta. Lapsley. Lyons. Matthews. Miller. Mozo. Peterson. Pillsbury. Pollock. Reed. Romali. Rojas. Silkert. Solomon. Sowell. Spurgeon. Wenzel. Windsor.
With a quorum being present, is there a motion to approve the Journal of November 6, 2024 as found online? Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. We are now in line for general orders of the Senate, beginning with reports from Senate leadership. Speaker Pro Tempore Byer, you are recognized to give a report on the Rules Committee.
Hi everybody, happy Wednesday. So as per usual, the Rules Committee met last Sunday at 5:30 in the LSC, where we reviewed 5 pieces of legislation, all of which were found unanimously favorable. One piece did have one abstention though, and with that I yield my time to questions.
The Speaker Pro Tempore yields her time to questions. Are there any questions for the Speaker Pro Tempore? Seeing none, thank you. We will now hear a report from the Academics Committee. Chairwoman Anderson, you are recognized.
Hi guys, academics met on Teams at 8:30 on Monday, and just a couple quick updates. Senator Hopkins has a piece of legislation on online classes hitting the floor today, and then Senator Winter's legislation on the Student Disability Resource Center will be still in the reading calendar this week, and then we're kind of just in a brainstorming phase, so nothing else to report on. And with that, I yield my time to questions.
The Chairwoman yields her time to questions. Are there any questions? Seeing none, thank you. We will now hear a report from the Finance Committee. Chairman Wenzel, you are recognized.
Finance Committee met at their normal time at 3:30 on Friday, along with their normal nominations. We also found Reese Lycan unanimously favorable. With that, I yield my time to questions.
The Chairman yields his time to questions. Are there any questions for the Chairman? Seeing none, thank you. We will now hear a report from the Health and Safety Committee. Chairman Gruner, you are recognized.
Hey guys, happy Wednesday. So our committee is currently getting ready to work on the menstrual product drive, which is something that we did earlier last semester. We're going to do a continuation for the spring semester. That is being currently led up by Senators Miller, Goodrich, Cumby, and Hopkins. Senator John also has been coordinating a collaboration between student government and the Student Cancer Prevention Coalition. We're going to be working with them on some tabling going into January and February next semester. And as of the other stuff our committee is going to start working on is like individual legislation pieces. And with that, I yield my time to questions.
The Chairman yields his time to questions. Are there any questions for the Chairman? Seeing none, thank you. We will now hear a report from the Inclusion and Equity Committee. Are there any senators wishing to give a report? Vice Chairman Caslow, you are recognized.
Hello, everyone. We had our meeting yesterday. We met with the Filipino Cultural Club organization, and we discussed how we could advocate financially for these organizations in the future. And then we discussed about how we are planning a networking event for them next semester. I yield my time to questions.
The Vice Chairman yields his time to questions. Are there any questions? Seeing none, thank you. We will now hear a report from the Judiciary Committee. Chairman Kay, you are recognized.
Good afternoon. Judiciary met this Friday at 12:40. We were going over the nominee of Reese Lycan for the position of student body treasurer. She was found unanimously favorable, both because she has almost singularly one of the most impressive set of qualifications I've ever seen inside of student government, a commitment to transparency for the position, a clear vision for enhancing our financial processes, and a depth of understanding of both our rules and codes that is nigh unmatched. I'll take any questions if you have them.
The Chairman yields his time to questions. Are there any questions for the Chairman? Seeing none, thank you. We will now hear a report from the Powers and Responsibilities Committee. Chairman Pillsbury, you are recognized.
Everyone, Powers met this past week to interview Reese Lycan for treasurer, and she was found unanimously favorable. She is extremely qualified and will be very committed to this position. And with that, I yield the rest of my time to questions.
The Chairman yields his time to questions. Are there any questions for the Chairman? Seeing none, thank you. We will now hear a report from the Student Life Committee. Chairman Barnes, you are recognized.
Hey everyone, not too much to update from Student Life. We met at our normal time on Monday at 5 and continued planning our committee-wide initiative. Please continue donating toys for the Christmas toy drive. There's a collection box in the LSC, so keep donating there. We'll keep going with that until December 6th, but we might extend it if we need more time. I yield my time to questions.
The Chairman yields his time to questions. Are there any questions for the Chairman? Seeing none, thank you. We will now hear a report from the Sustainability Committee. Chairwoman LaPinta, you are recognized.
Hey guys. So we had a super quick meeting on Monday. It was over Zoom. All we really did was vote on Senator Lyons' legislation, which was unanimously favorable. Nothing super new from us this week, but we're kind of looking at our initiatives to start the next semester. And with that, I'll yield the questions.
The Chairwoman yields her time to questions. Are there any questions? Seeing none, thank you. We will now hear a report from the Freshman Council. Are there any representatives from the Freshman Council present? Y'all can come a minute. And then just tell us your name and your hometown so we get to know y'all.
I'm Frances Overton. I'm from Birmingham, Alabama.
I'm Morgan Magruder. I'm from Spartanburg, South Carolina.
So this week for FROCA, we discussed about meeting up with mentors and also the Senate's toy drive for the homeless. And then also AK Psy's Student Success Summit they're having this Friday. And they're giving like free headshots, so they encouraged us to go.
And then we did a group activity where we were grouped based on our personality types. And then we made up like little skits about issues that we thought were important. And then we're continuing brainstorming in our committees about an activity that we can do during our last meeting to support students during finals week. And we yield to questions.
The representatives yield their time to questions. Are there any questions? Seeing none, thank you. If y'all can give them a round of applause. First time. We will now hear a report from the Constitutional Council. Chief Justice Buchmeyer, you are recognized.
Good evening, everyone. There's not much to report. I got a thick packet of codes to update this morning, so I'm looking forward to taking the time to do that. Probably going to carve that out over Thanksgiving break. Also got notification we're likely having a swearing in this evening. So that's about all I have to report. With that, I yield to questions.
The Chief Justice yields his time to questions. Are there any questions? Chairman Kay.
The normal outfit, I got got a notification that we had a swearing in today this morning, so I was actually able to plan stuff out. It was real nice. Just, I mean, it's not that I don't love y'all too, but struggle to plan out the day.
Are there any other questions for the Chief Justice? Seeing none, thank you. We will now hear a report from the Speaker of the Senate, Maura Hamilton. Chief of Staff Kohler, you are recognized.
All right, hi everyone. Just a few quick updates for today. FROCO proxies are officially in motion, so from here on out, if you want a FROCO member to serve as one of your proxies, you can just list that on the proxy form. There's just a little checkbox there. So yay, we can start using our FROCO members. Also, I think I've updated everything, but if you are not in your committee, General Senate, or the SG-wide group me's, let me know and I will update that as soon as possible. But as of right now, I believe everyone is in the correct committees and everyone in Senate is both in the Senate and the SG group meeting. And then also, there's a Senate training after Senate tonight for newly seated senators who haven't been trained yet. And with that, I yield to questions.
The Chief of Staff yields her time to questions. Are there any questions for the Chief of Staff? Seeing none, thank you. We will now hear a report from the Student Body Treasurer. President Patton Byers, you are recognized. I don't have my glasses on. I couldn't tell what you were doing back there.
No worries. For logistic purposes, I'll be doing this one, and then I have to go to do a filming for After Hour Shuttle, which will be an amazing announcement. So Cole, the historian, or my historian, will be taking up my presidential updates. So just an FYI for the weird flip. But anyway, for treasurer updates, this is my second and last update as treasurer. This is really sad. Maybe I can do a speech, you know. Anyway, I had one meeting with the staff, relatively normal. That was actually the first meeting we've had that was mandatory in that branch for some time, from what I could gather. So excited for Reese to be in that in the branch and hopefully take over my reins that I've left. So it'll be all good stuff. And then we worked on reimbursements mainly the past few weeks. The past few days. We also did have a treasurer's workshop, which was yesterday, which seemed to be a relatively decent crowd. So that was great. Our chief comptroller, Ben Smith, and chief of staff, Owen, ran that as well. We also had a post actually for the treasurer's workshop, this is the first time we've had it this year, so that was good to get that out there to so many different organizations. We also sent out reminders to the different organizations as well. But I'll yield to questions on anything regarding treasurer stuff.
The President yields his time to questions. Are there any questions? Seeing none, thank you. We are now in line for a report from the Student Body Vice President. Vice President Tax, you are recognized.
Hi everyone, happy Wednesday. So today I actually met with the Board of Visitors and we spoke about the new medical school, which looks absolutely gorgeous. And I got confirmation that this is going to increase opportunities for undergraduate research within the Brain Center and the new Health Science Building. So I'm really excited to kind of expand those beyond the classroom opportunities for students. And then we also spoke about increasing male engagement on campus. So we have a lot of next steps with that, including contacting Pillars and U101. And then Maura and I met yesterday with the Commuters Club and Chairwoman Cassetti to talk about engaging commuting students. It was really informative to hear some of the difficulties that commuting students are having, including spaces on campus, communication, and community building. So we also have increased next steps for that as well. As for Big Little, if you could not attend Big Little reveal last week, you should have gotten an email with information about your Little. So we're actually going to plan a Big Little hangout event. So if you didn't have a formal time to meet your Little, you will have the opportunity to come hang out with them, get to know them. I think we're going to decorate holiday cookies. So I'm really excited about that. And then we are also starting to brainstorm our programming events for next semester, including Beautiful Week, which is all about body positivity and loving yourself and your mind, and Gamecock Growth, which is the new name for Key Week, which is all about professional development. So if you guys would like to take part in either one of those, please let me know. And then just a reminder for comms, if you need a graphic for something, please try to get it in at least 10 days before the event, if not a week. Just so that my comms team has enough time to do the graphic, get it back to you, just for confirmation that it's what you want it to look like, so we can get it posted on time. And if you would like anything in the newsletter about events that you are throwing, or if you need to have a form filled out or anything like that, please fill out that form on Garnet Gate before 11:59 on Friday, so it'll be posted on Sunday. With that, I yield my time to questions.
The student body vice president yields her time to questions. Are there any questions? Seeing none, thank you. We are now in line for a report for the student body treasurer, president, historian Cole Rotundo. You are now recognized.
Hi guys, I'm Cole. I'll be speaking for Patton tonight. Excuse my outfit. I didn't know I would be speaking until about 10 minutes ago. So Patton is working with Student Affairs to get more resources regarding Title IX to be marketed to the student body. He's also working with the Vice Provost of Undergraduate Affairs on some of the lag issues seen in degree works regarding double majors. The GR survey got over 2,000 people to fill it out, and it got 2,000 responses. We have gotten great feedback on it. Patton is excited to say that Stacy Fritz, the President's Chief of Staff, will now be heading to the Office of Health and Well-Being here at USC. He believes she will do a great job in her role, and with that, I yield my time.
The historian yields his time to questions. Are there any questions? Seeing none, thank you. We are now in line for special orders of the Senate. Are there any letters, petitions, appointments, applications, or other? The clerk will now read.
A communication from the Election Commissioner concerning Senate seat reapportionments.
The communication is referred to the Powers and Responsibilities Committee. Continuing on with the special orders of the Senate, are there any letters, petitions, appointments, applications, or other? The clerk will now read. Seeing no more special orders of the Senate, we are now in the motion period. Are there any motions on the floor at this time? Chairman Kay. There's been a motion to confirm Reese Lakin to the position of student body treasurer. Is there a second? All those in favor say aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. The nominee is now confirmed. Chairman Kay. There's been a motion to suspend the rules. Is there a second? All those in favor say aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. The rules are now suspended.
I, Reese Lakin,
Do solemnly pledge to faithfully execute
do solemnly pledge to faithfully execute
the office of student body treasurer,
the office of student body treasurer,
to abide by the student government,
to abide by the student government,
Constitution and codes,
Constitution and codes,
to uphold the Carolinian Creed,
to uphold the Carolinian Creed,
and to represent my constituents
and to represent my constituents
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Is there a motion to reinstate the rules? Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. Continuing on with the motion period, are there any other motions on the floor at this time? Chairwoman Anderson. There's been a motion to remove Chairwoman Anderson from the Sustainability Committee. Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. Senator DiPolito. There's been a motion to add Senator DiPolito to the Judiciary Committee. Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. Senator Reed. There's been a motion to remove Senator Reed from the Powers and Responsibilities Committee. Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. Are there any other motions on the floor at this time? Seeing no more motions, is there a motion to dispense of this motion period? Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. We are now on the call of the introduction of new legislation. The clerk will now read.
SBL 11644, introduced by the Finance Committee, a recommendation to permit the Finance Committee to allocate funds.
Chairman Wenzel, you are recognized to speak on this legislation.
Hello, everyone. Finance Committee reviewed $28,784.99 this Friday, and we allocated $17,798.94. With that, I yield my time to questions.
The chairman yields his time to questions. Are there any questions for the chairman? Seeing none, thank you. Are there any motions on the floor at this time? Chairman Kay. There's been a motion to adopt SBL 11644 by unanimous consent. Seeing no objections, the legislation is now adopted. Continuing on with the call of new legislation, the clerk will now read.
SBL 11645, introduced by Senator Hopkins, a recommendation to better the quality of online classes.
Senator Hopkins, you are recognized to speak on this legislation.
Hello. I hope everyone is having a nice day. So first and foremost, I would like to thank the Deputy Secretary of Academics, Ms. Ainsley Martin. This was all her research. I really just put pen to paper. She put a lot of effort into this, so I'd like to thank her and also thank the provost. But basically what this does is we did kind of a deep dive into the current quality standards of online classes. Like, it is in regards to both teachers and students, and we found them to be very vague and outdated. And we looked also at what UGA and Clemson use currently, QM. So it places a big emphasis on constant improvement and looking towards course evaluations a whole lot, and that's something that we haven't seen reflected in our own quality standards for online courses. So what this basically is just a call to action to try and update that a bit, because I think we've all probably had either really good or really bad online classes. So we're trying to make that more stable. I mean, me personally, my favorite class right now is an online class. It's Religion 270. I recommend. It's super fun. But in the past, I've also had classes where I felt it was very difficult to stay engaged, and that's partially because the quality standards are so blurry. At points, just for an example, one of the things that teachers are told to do is to make sure that the module fits the learning objective with no other specificity. So we're just looking to kind of fix some little loops that are there and just give our students the best classes possible. Clemson uses the better ones, I would like to say. So keep that in mind when voting. I yield my time to questions.
The senator yields her time to questions. Are there any questions for the senator? Seeing none, thank you. This legislation is now referred to the Academics Committee. Continuing on with the call of new legislation, the clerk will now read.
SBL 11646, introduced by Senators Dworzynowski and Govin, a recommendation to increase awareness of the demand feature on the Translock application.
The senators are recognized to speak on the legislation.
Hello, hope everyone's doing well today. So, Senator Govin and I have been speaking with students on campus, and we realized that a lot of students are unaware of the on-demand ride request feature on the Translock application. And this feature is important for keeping students safe at nighttime during the hours of 6 p.m. to 2 a.m., as well as allowing students to take full advantage of their tuition. And so essentially what we're proposing in this recommendation is that the university would add a roughly 5-minute addition onto new student orientation, where the orientation leaders would take their small groups through the steps of booking a ride on Translock, so that when students walk on campus for the first time, they already know how to utilize this application to its most benefit to keep themselves safe. With that, we yield to questions.
The senators yield their time to questions. Are there any questions for the senators? Senator Goodrich. There's been a motion to adopt SBL 11646 by unanimous consent. Seeing no objections, this legislation is now adopted. Congratulations, first piece. Continuing on with the call of new legislation, the clerk will now read.
SBL 11647, introduced by Senator Lyons, a recommendation to urge the university to immediately repair the exterior siding of the Bull Street Garage 1.
Senator Lyons, you are recognized to speak on this legislation.
Good evening, everybody. So as the title of this legislation states, this is to encourage the university and urge them to repair part of the Bull Street Garage on Gate 1. So to give a little context for this, So on the Bull Street Garage and some of the other garages around campus, they have like that tan siding that's a metal exterior, and that is attached to the concrete support beams. And on one side of the Bull Street Garage, that metal exterior has become detached, and the bolts and joints have broken off of the concrete supports. And so this was reported on this Sunday, and it was immediately investigated by the university. And some of you may have received an email this morning that the university is blocking off part of the garage in order to fix this. As I said, there are the concrete supports. There are 7 of them, and the siding is broken off of 4 of them, so it's only being held on by the outermost concrete supports and is broken off down several levels of the garage. So it's kind of just like leaning off the side. And so if it were to completely break off, it is definitely a hazard to people that are walking by, people that are in the garage, and especially the vehicles that are parked on this part of the garage. I think it's just a huge liability for the school, and also to just protect, we want to protect student safety and also student property. This legislation, when it was written, the university hadn't made any effort to fix this yet. It wasn't until this morning that they sent out that email. So I guess this legislation is just saying that as a student body that we care about this, we care about our safety, and that this is especially concerning because it's kind of like the structural integrity of the siding of the garage. So we wouldn't want anything to happen. This legislation will just help them, encourage them to act promptly, to quickly address this problem, because we don't want them to like drag their feet on it and put it off until a few more weeks, because property could be severely damaged. So I just would like to ask that we can go ahead and adopt this tonight to just show that we care, that this is a problem, and this is like a timely thing, that we would like this to get addressed promptly because there is a safety concern. So I yield my time to questions.
The senator yields his time to questions. Are there any questions? Chairman Kaye. There's been a motion to adopt SBL 11647 by unanimous consent. Seeing no objections, this legislation is now adopted. Continue on with the call of new legislation. The clerk will now read.
SBL 11648, introduced by Chairman Kaye, a bill to establish a definitions appendix.
Chairman Kaye, you are recognized to speak on this legislation.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is a very functional piece of legislation. After looking over the codes when engaging and revising of them, I noticed that there were 2 parts that had a definition section. All I did was take them, this is something that I've wanted to do for a little while, and put them under an appendix and then give them some form of legal binding that already exists inside the codes. I just denote that these are definitions primarily. That's all the bill does.
The chairman yields his time to questions. Are there any questions for the chairman? Senator Lyons.
Copied and pasted them. I looked them over. Some of them were rewritten when we went over Chapter 3. Some of them have existed previously in Chapter 6. I looked over them, didn't find anything that was necessary to change, and then just slotted them back up to the front of the document.
Are there any other questions for the chairman? Seeing none, thank you. Seeing no more questions, this legislation is now referred to the Finance, Powers and Responsibilities, and Judiciary Committees. Continuing on with the call of new legislation, the clerk will now read. Seeing none, we are now on the call of uncontested legislation. The clerk will now read.
SBL 11640, introduced by Senator Winters, a recommendation to provide additional classroom space in Close Hip to the Student Disability Resource Center.
Senator Winters, you are recognized to speak on this legislation.
Hi, everyone. This is just a recommendation to give additional classroom space to the Student Disability Resource Center. As student enrollment has increased, the Student Disability Resource Center is having a tough time meeting the demand for alternative testing and is running out of testing space for students. During midterms this semester, they actually had to request additional classroom space from different offices on campus to meet the demand. So yeah, this is just recommending that
the office gets additional classroom space and closed hip to meet that demand. I yield my time.
The senator yields her time to questions. Are there any questions for the senator? Senator Lapsley. Granted. Are there any other questions for the senator? Seeing none, we will now move to a voice vote on this legislation. All those in favor say aye. All opposed? The ayes have it, and the legislation is adopted. Congratulations. Continuing on with the call of uncontested legislation, the clerk will now read.
SBL 11642, introduced by Senator Lyons, a recommendation to encourage the university to ensure all students in on-campus residences have access to battery recycling receptacles.
Senator Lyons, you're recognized to speak on this legislation.
Hello again. I spoke on this legislation last week. It is basically to encourage the university to put battery recycling bins in every residence hall. Some of the residence halls already have these, and I'm in Preston, and it gets used. It's just like a really thin cylinder that people can put batteries in. And just some of the reasoning behind battery recycling is that it's important because when we just throw away batteries, it can leak toxic chemicals into our water systems when they're in landfills and things of that sort. I went into more detail last week, but that's pretty much it. The university has already placed an order to have these receptacles in every dorm, so this is just an encouragement to say that we're supporting this, their endeavor. With that, I yield my time to questions.
The senator yields his time to questions. Are there any questions for the senator? Seeing none, we will now move to a voice vote on this legislation. All those in favor say aye. All opposed? The ayes have it, and the legislation is adopted. Continuing on with the call of uncontested legislation, the clerk will now read.
SBL 11643, introduced by the Inclusion and Equity Committee, a recommendation to modify the faculty research database to easily find researchers that are accepting students for the current academic term.
Chairman Gruner, you are recognized to speak on this legislation.
So SBL 11643 is really just focusing, like what Chairwoman Cassetti said last week, on mainstreaming what research databases show, and specifically trying to enable professors who are trying to get new students involved into being able to broadcast what their research is about more easily to the students. This will also help students navigate the current research databases a little bit more efficiently and allow for a more timely manner. With that, I yield my time to questions.
The chairman yields his time to questions. Are there any questions for the chairman? Seeing none, we will now move to a voice vote on the legislation. All those in favor say aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. The legislation is adopted. Continuing on with the uncontested reading calendar, the clerk will now read. Hearing none, that completes the call of the uncontested legislation. We are now on the call of the contested legislation. The clerk will now read. Hearing none, we are now in line for a period of open discussion. Does any senator wish to bring a matter of attention to the body? Seeing none, we are now in line for a period of announcements. Are there any announcements from the floor? Speaker Pro Tempore Byer. The Speaker Pro Tempore yields her time to questions. Are there any questions? Seeing none, are there any other announcements from the body? Senator Goodrich. The senator yields her time to questions. Are there any questions? Seeing none, thank you. Are there any other announcements from the floor? Senator Mozo? Okay, thank you for sharing. Perfect. The senator yields her time to questions. Are there any questions? Can we just really fast, because it's actually been bothering me. If you don't have a placard, can you just raise your hand, like right now? Okay, the 3 new ones, I already ordered yours. So it's just Mac. Okay, noted. No, that's fine. We'll just get some more. I don't care. All right. So everybody's positive they have a placard, correct? Okay, and your names are all spelled correctly, correct? Amazing. Are there any other announcements from the floor at this time? Perfect. I have like 3 super quick ones. First off, just confirming there is Senate next week. I'm not sure if anybody thought that there weren't, but we have a full week of school, so we will have Senate next week. But obviously, following week, it's going to be Thanksgiving. I personally will be 700 miles away in New Jersey having real bagels and real pizza, so please don't bother me while I'm on Thanksgiving break. But no Senate the following week. Delegation chairpersons, you got that email from Speaker Pro Tempore Byer. If you're confused about being a delegation chairperson, reach out. I'm more than happy to talk with you. I know there's been some movement in who are in those leadership positions recently. And then, as my chief of staff said, just please make sure you're in all the group meets. I want to make sure that y'all are getting the correct information at all times. I would keep your eyes peeled and posted on the student government-wide group me. I think something's going out in there like next week. I'm pretty sure Patton paid the Rizzler like $100 to make a cameo video for it, so that's going to be funny. I haven't seen it yet. I've just heard rumors. But just keep your eyes posted for that one, I guess. And then congratulations to all of our senators who passed their first pieces of legislation. That was amazing. That makes my heart so unbelievably happy. And then just a reminder, if you are a new senator and you didn't get trained by me, we're just going to run to the LSC and do that super quick right after Senate. Just head back to that back wooden table, and I'll meet y'all there. But seeing no more announcements, is there a motion to adjourn? Is there a second? Without objection, the Senate will now stand adjourned until Wednesday, November 20th, 2024. He did pay the Rizzler.